What's going on, guys? I wanted to post this video real quick to give my opinion on why you might not want to buy a Bambu Labs printer at this moment, and which printers I'm talking about from Bambu Labs, and the reasons why. After owning the X1 Carbon now for over a year, and after having some experiences with the A1 Mini, and pretty much everything about that printer is the same on the A1, aside from a slightly smaller build volume, but also a slightly different bed temperature. But I want to go ahead and talk about this real quick. Most of this is going to be about the Core XYs, as I believe right now, if you're looking at an A1 Mini or an A1, you're probably in the right place as far as Bambu Labs go. Those printers have the newest updates from the Bambu lineup. The X1 Carbon, the P1S, and the P1P are all a little outdated at this point, not in terms of printers, but just in terms of Bambu Lab printers, especially the X1 Carbon. This is the first printer Bambu Labs released. This is the OG at this point, and there's a few things that the printer kind of, lacks compared to an A1 Mini or an A1, and that's sad when if you sit an A1 or an A1 Mini next to your glorious $1,250 X1 Carbon, there's quite a few things that's better on the A1 Mini and the A1 that's just not good on the X1 Carbon. And in some things, in fact, a printer like the Infomax TX does better, and this is a $300 printer. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with the first thing, and I think one of the most important are these first few. I'm just going to go and get them out of the way so that you don't have to watch far into a video for the nitty and gritty. It's going to be two things. It's going to be, first off, the internal lighting. The internal lighting on the X1 Carbon is just genuinely pretty damn bad, especially if I close this door right now. It's just not the best. Do keep in mind that phone cameras, or just cameras in general, pick up a lot more light than you can actually see. So what you're seeing is definitely better than what it actually is. But you can just noticeably tell. I mean, I have another one of these storage containers right here. I can sit in there. I can even I could drop the bed. But even with the door shut, you can see this Infomax lights up the bed a million times brighter than the Bambu Labs. And this is annoying when you're working on the printer or you're inside the printer. The lighting isn't that good. When you're trying to view prints, the lighting isn't that good. And this also affects the video quality for time lapses and just viewing your print live preview, because the lighting just isn't that good. I do have a light that I normally was running in the Bambu Labs, and it's actually motion detected, so when the print head moved, it would turn on. And that worked pretty well. The battery recently died in it. I thought that's a good time to show what the stock lighting looks like. Another downside is the sound. The X1 Carbon is genuinely loud. At 100% speed, so not turned up, this printer sounds like a washing machine with a fan attached to it. The motor movement is better than it used to be before the firmware update, but it's just genuinely a loud printer. If you compare it to something like this Infomax TX, it is not even comparable how loud this printer is. And also the fan on it. When printing PLA, this fan runs at 100%, and it is loud. The A1 Mini and the A1 are nowhere near this loud. Printing at the same speeds, they're just not this loud. On top of that, the X1 Carbon, one of the more parts that you'll have to replace the most on a 3D printer is your hot end or your nozzle. And on the X1 Carbon, now this is the same on the Infomax, so there's no advantage with the Infomax, but there is an advantage with the A1 Mini and the A1, is to replace the nozzle on an A1 Mini takes 5 to 10 seconds. It is extremely easy. Pretty much you pull off the cover, and then there is a metal latch you flip over, and the hot end just pulls right out. You put the new one in, you flip the latch. Super easy. On the X1 Carbon, you have two options. If you want to replace just the nozzle, like I explained with the A1, then it is very difficult. And this is just difficult in general, not difficult for like the Bambu style, because Bambu is plug and play, easy to maintain. It is not easy to replace this nozzle at all. If you buy the entire assembly, it costs a little more than double the price of a nozzle, and then it's just 2 bolts. It's fairly simple. It's 2 bolts and about 3 connectors, so it's still nowhere near as easy as the A1 and the A1 Mini. If you buy just the nozzle, or if you go off of what comes with the Bambu Lab as a backup, here's my spare parts, which I have actually not really used any of. If you buy this nozzle, just the bare nozzle, with no fan or anything attached to it, to replace this, you have to disconnect the thermistor, removing thermal paste and whatnot, and remove the fan, and there's a little metal clip that goes on there also. It is, I highly recommend, if you have this printer and you're thinking about replacing this nozzle, especially if you're thinking about replacing the one that came with it, so it's bare nozzle with not the whole assembly, do watch a video. I actually pulled mine apart recently and was gonna replace it and decided against it. I'd rather order the assembly, because it's more work than I'm willing to put into it, especially considering I was doing it for the fun of it, and the printer's printing fairly decent. But that is another con. The A1 Mini and the A1 just have a better nozzle design. There's no thermal paste, it is magnetic, and it has a simple latch. The X1 card, this is things that Bambu Labs has learned throughout the years, or throughout the last 2 years, and I'm sure when they do an updated X1, whether that's an X2 or whatever they want to call it, I would think it would get these adjustments. It's probably going to get a better LED light, it's probably going to be a little quieter, and it's probably going to come with a better hot end. And these are all things that are really necessary. When I'm comparing the Infomec and the X1 Carbon, there's obviously a bunch of advantages with the X1 Carbon. Of course, it's a very good printer, and it's extremely expensive compared to a $300 Infomec. But with that being said, the things that I utilize on the daily basis with these machines, the things that affect me every second they're being printed on, pretty much, is lighting, sound, and and then quality and print speed. But the main two, how loud is it? How easy can I see the prints? How good do the prints look? How fast does it print? When $300 printers print just as fast, if not faster in this case, the quality is the exact same. I mean, both these parts, I've printed a lot of parts, and the quality between these two machines is indistinguishable. I mean, they both print very, very well. The Infomec, a lot of times, every time I've ever printed anything on both, the Infomec prints faster. It sets up faster. So if those two are tied, if not, leaning towards the cheaper printer, the two main things that affect me on a daily basis is how loud is the printer and how good is the lighting. And so when the Bambu Lab lacks in lighting and it's extremely loud, it makes it hard to love the printer. I've owned this printer for 1.5 years. I do enjoy it. I do not regret buying it, but I'm starting to enjoy printing on a $300 printer more, and that's sad. And if I had an A1 Mini or an A1, which has better lighting and is quieter, for these generic, just quick and easy prints, I couldn't say that, because the enclosure brings me no value in just a regular PLA print, really. I mean, I have the top off. It's not affecting the sound very much. But the lighting affects me on every print. The sound affects me on every print. And these are the things that the X1 Carbon disappoints. At this point, the X1 Carbon is by far not the fastest printer on the market. The quality is very good, but there are plenty of other printers that have caught up in quality while still being just as fast. And it is one of the louder printers. I can't say, I've never heard a K1 or a K1 Max in person, so I'm not going to say whether this printer is louder or not. But what I will say, I have this printer in my office and my bedroom, and this printer is genuinely really loud. The printer looks like an appliance, I agree, but it's too loud to be an appliance. You put your washer machine in the laundry room or in the garage for a reason, because it's loud. And the X1 Carbon sounds like a washer machine from the 90s. I'm telling you, with like a server fan attached to it. It is genuinely loud. I've tried to test this, pausing the printer and keeping the Infomex printing, because the Infomex is so fucking quiet. But I couldn't, because when I paused the print on the X1 Carbon, the part fan stays running 100%. So the printer, even when I pause it, is extremely loud. So I couldn't even really compare how quiet the Infomec is to the X1 Carbon, because even when paused idling, it's still louder than the Infomec, so you can't hear the Infomec over it. These are just things that have disappointed me with this printer. I have the Q1 Pro on the way, which checks a lot of the boxes aside from the AMS on this printer. As far as like it has a higher temp nozzle, it has a higher temp bed, it has a heated chamber. It's got quite a few things that the X1 Carbon has, and a few that it doesn't. And so I'm hoping it'll be a good X1 replacement. The Infomec has definitely pleased a good majority of the prints that I do. The Infomec does absolutely amazing. I'm waiting on accessories to show up for this printer, an auxiliary cooling fan, filtration, and a camera. And then after that, I'll be buying a Volcano style hot end for it, like the nozzle, so that I can print carbon fiber filaments. But before doing all that, I'm hoping the Q1 Pro shows, or before that shows up. Those still haven't shipped out. So in the meantime, I'm waiting on the Q1 Pro to show up, and then once that happens, the X1 Carbon's gonna have to go. It's just genuinely it's too loud. I've dealt with it for over a year now, and now using the Infomex, it's kind of spoiled me to being as quiet as it is. Recently, I've been printing a bunch of these storage containers and kind of gifting them out, and so I've had both machines printing constantly. Just to, so they take about 10 hours. And so if I use both, I can produce 2 every 10 hours versus 1. But in the meantime, this is a different case scenario of someone who has 3D printers in his bedroom. I can easily sleep with the Infomex TX printing. I could easily sleep with an A1 Mini printing. I think the Infomex TX is still a little quieter. But I'm like changing this thing to silent to try and sleep with it, and I can show y'all how much quieter it gets in silent. Keep in mind, this is gonna about double the print time. It quieted down a little bit before the update, which quieted down the X1 Carbon, because this is updated. The motor sound was the loudest thing, and so putting it in silent mode really did help quite a bit. They have quieted the motors a little bit. They're still loud, definitely louder than the TX. But the fan is genuinely loud. If you close the printer up, it does get a little better, but you just can't close the printer while printing PLA. And so when printing PLA, this printer's really loud. I can actually start a print on you'll have to check out, I have some videos of the Infomec TX printing on my channel. I highly recommend you go watch them. I also compared the quality of prints between these two, and it's definitely worth watching. I would go check out one of those videos, and you'll get to hear both printing, and hopefully in the video it displays how quiet the Infomex is. This printer's been absolutely amazing to print on now. I have over 100 hours of print time, and it has been stunning. Definitely changed my eyes, being that I'm used to a printer that I paid, I think, $1,700 for with the AMS versus $299 shipped. They've recently added, I think, $90 for shipping, so this is now about $400. But even at $400, I enjoy printing on this more than my $1,250 X1 Carbon with the AMS. The AMS has been an absolute, I'm not going to say an absolute nightmare, but it has not been a pleasant experience. I don't do a lot of multicolor printing, and the AMS has jammed on me and had filament broken inside of it twice. And when that happens, this machine will not print until you pull it all the way apart and fix it, which is a 30-minute to an hour process. And that's after the first time. The first time probably took a little longer. And I have about 315 hours on this printer, and I've had filament break in the AMS twice. I think this printer is very reliable. The AMS is definitely not reliable. And that is another thing. The A1 Mini and the A1, the AMS for those printers, the Teflon tube runs for the filament is not inside of an enclosure. So if that did happen, it would be extremely easy to fix, but it would probably never happen due to the fact there's no crazy tight 90s on those AMSs, unlike this one where the filament goes in here and then it goes straight down and then 90s out the back. And so I think that tight bend just causes filament to break if it's at all brittle. And so I've had issues with that. And so with that being said, the AMS is convenient for when I change filament. But you change filament every 1 kg of filament versus the benefits of better lighting and sound is something that you get that benefit every single time you're printing, every minute that you're printing, versus the one little benefit that you get every few days that you might go without changing a roll of filament, or in some people's cases weeks. Not everybody prints an entire kg of filament every day, but I hope this video helped. If y'all are interested in the Infomex TX, go check out my other video. I have an affiliate link to this printer I got set up tonight, so if you'd like to check it out, that affiliate link will give me a little 1% kickback. Nothing special, but I definitely appreciate it. And I'll have that affiliate link in the description of this video, but also in the description of the video where I'm comparing these two printers and their quality. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. See y'all in the next one.